Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on KAJ, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Ariana Lake. Montana Rail Link says it could take several weeks before a coal train derailment northwest of Knoxon is completely cleaned up. About 30 cars derailed Sunday night, spilling an unknown amount of coal along the banks and into the Clark Fork River along Highway 200. An MRL spokesperson says the rail company is working with state and federal agencies to ensure the cleanup is successful. They say very little coal spilled into the Clark Fork, but they don't know exactly how much got into the river. MRL says they are cooperating with the Federal Railroad Administration to investigate this derailment. No word yet on what caused the accident. Fire specialists expect today's dry and breezy conditions to fuel slight growth on the east side of the Gibralter Ridge fire burning near Eureka. The nearly 1,900-acre lightning-sparked fire is 12% contained following a few days of humid and cooler weather. Crews continue efforts today to protect structures while holding the fire along the Foothills Road. Tonight, firefighters will use an infrared camera to find heat sources and suppress hot spots. Previously evacuated residents were allowed back to their homes yesterday. They are required to sign in and provide contact information at the checkpoint located at Lick Lake and receive a permit to put in your car. Non-residents are not allowed in the closure areas. The lightning-sparked Sprague fire has now burned an estimated 100 acres in Glacier National Park. It's located in the west side of the park above Crystal Ford on the Gunsight Trail. It's the main access trail to the Sperry Chalet. Park officials say depending on fire behavior, that chalet may remain closed for the rest of the season. The structures at Sperry Chalet are not immediately threatened by the fire. However, the park is prepared to implement structural protection precautions as necessary. Other fires within the park have been contained or are being staffed right now. A fire was reported in the North Fork area of the park on Sunday. The Adair Peak fire was burning in heavy area in a remote area. For the latest on backcountry permits and even some trail closures because of these fires, you can check out our website. You may have noticed a little more smoke in the air compared to yesterday, and it sounds like our air quality is just going to go back downhill from here. Chief Meteorologist ARIANA says more, and a look at our forecast. Aaron?
Yeah, a lot of us were really spoiled yesterday. We had a nice flow direction change. A lot of things coming out of the southwest. Today, that's starting to shift a little bit more westerly, and once that sort of takes hold, we're going to start to see more smoke being pumped back into the region. So really not much to talk about on radar or even satellite imagery right now. Another cooler day in the grand scheme of things. Tomorrow, we're going to be in the low 80s. We're going to push the mid to even upper 80s come this weekend with a nice little warm up. I'm not seeing any rain though in the extended forecast, at least within the next 7 days. I've got a forecast update coming up shortly.
Thanks, Aaron. We do have an update for you on a couple smaller fires burning in our region today. The Tamarack fire in northwest Montana holding at just under 300 acres. It's burning in remote terrain between Kalispell and Libby. It was started by lightning during a storm on Friday night. It was first detected early Saturday morning. A Type 2 incident management team is taking over command of the Tamarack fire as well as the nearby Peoples fire. The Peoples fire has burned about 100 acres and is reported to be 70% contained tonight. And the Blue Bay fire burning east of Polson above Montana Highway 35 has now torched 55 acres. The lightning spark blaze is burning in the mountains above the Finley Point area. There are over 50 firefighters assigned to fight the fire, which is not threatening any structures right now. Fire danger does remain extreme on the Flathead Indian Reservation, and Stage 2 restrictions continue across northwest and western Montana. In national news tonight, a memorial service is planned tomorrow for the woman killed in a clash with white supremacists in Virginia over the weekend. Heather Heyer died when a driver rammed his car into a group of counter-protesters, also injuring 19 people. Weijia Zhang has the latest on the situation unfolding in Charlottesville.
Go home! Trouble flared again in Charlottesville's Emancipation Park. At the site of this weekend's violent protests, a man dressed in a Confederate uniform provoked visitors.
Terrorists, go home!
Virginia's governor has ordered a review of how police respond to rallies like the one that turned deadly when a white supremacist plowed his car into a crowd of counter-protesters. Corey Long says the city is now on edge.
The mood is just chaotic, angry, everything.
The clash here in Charlottesville started with a far-right rally against plans to remove this statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. The decision is now up to the courts. Aaliyah Jones witnessed the violence and says the monument needs to go before tensions worsen.
I'm just worried of what else might happen.
Like what?
Another riot.
But Kara Jones says removing it would be wrong.
Our history is all we've got. We learn from our history. It's not hate. It's not discrimination. It's nothing of the sort.
Officials in several states are planning to remove Confederate statues. In North Carolina, leftist protesters took matters into their own hands. And on the right, the violence has fueled the white supremacist movement, with leaders planning more events and promising to be more active now than ever before. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Charlottesville, Virginia.
Of the 19 injured in the car attack, 9 remain in the hospital, but we are told they are in good condition now. Back in the Flathead, the Kalispell Chamber of Commerce returns from a national convention celebrating multiple achievements. The Kalispell Chamber of Commerce became eligible for and attended their first Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives annual convention in July this year. The annual event honors city chambers of commerce for a number of different awards, along with the awards in communication and membership that our chamber received. They also finished in the top 3 for Chamber of the Year. And when it came to communications excellence, Kalispell finished first above 120 other communications projects across the nation and even Canada. Communication and marketing specialist at the Chamber, Kate Lurfkin, says their major focus moving forward is downtown Kalispell.
Really create this vibrant, energetic downtown, and so some projects around building that and keeping the momentum going are things that we'll be looking at over the next year.
Plenty of competition for those awards. There are more than 7,000 chambers of commerce across North America. In state news tonight, Governor Steve Bullock today announces that a member of his cabinet is stepping down. Bullock said that Labor Commissioner Pam BUCY will be leaving after 4.5 years on the job, but gave no reason for her departure. The Labor Commissioner oversees the State Department of Labor and Industry and is appointed by the governor. BUCY, who is an attorney, was appointed to the post by Bullock in January of 2013. It was the previous year that BUCY ran for Attorney General as a Democrat and lost to Republican Tim Fox. Bullock says BUCY has been a driving force in the state, university system, and private sector working together to create a skilled workforce for Montana. In a statement, BUCY said it's been an honor to serve the people of Montana. No word yet on what she plans to do next. The Montana Department of Environmental Quality is granting preliminary approval for a proposed copper mine near White Sulphur Springs. Tintina Resources announced Monday the DEQ considers their mine operating permit, or MOP, as complete after months and multiple submissions for the Black Butte Copper Project. Tintina's proposed mine is underground 17 miles north of White Sulphur Springs and sits above Sheep Creek. An environmental impact study will now begin, allowing the public the chance to weigh in on the project. The EIS is expected to take about a year to finish. Now, some residents are worried about the environmental impact of the mine, but the Vice President of Exploration for the company says the recent approval is a testament to their commitment to ensuring the safety of the environment.
And this permit application exceeds anything ever seen before in Montana, and we're very proud of it. It really shows how committed Tintina is to doing the project in a very responsible way. This will be truly one of the most environmentally friendly mining operations in the world.
The EIS will be completed by a third-party contractor selected by the DEQ and is expected to begin in the next 30 days. And for the last 2 weeks, 13 Iraqi teenagers have been in Montana working to come up with answers for some of the world's most challenging issues. MTN's Jacob Furr introduces us to the students to understand more about their trip and what they learned.
We can't just stand out there and wait for things to be better.
The mission for this group of young Iraqis is clear: peace building and reconciliation. It's the theme that World Montana, which organized the trip, set for the group.
We bring international professional delegations and the youth groups to Montana.
Through the Iraqi Young Leadership Exchange Program, these boys and girls address large-scale issues in the community like the environment and education. The hope is to take that knowledge back home.
How is it going to help us bring some ideas in and take them back to where we live and use that for peace building?
We also learned a lot being in Helena, Montana, talking to these organizations, knowing how they started literally from scratch and then getting their way from there, giving us a sort of hope.
Over the course of their stay, they met with organizations like the United Way, Human Rights Montana, and Helena Industries.
We asked them about their challenges that they face, their weak points, their strength points.
And then they took note. While here, they also learned a bit about American culture.
I was expect that the people would look at me like I'm strangers, and exactly I wear scarf and I'm a Muslim. So I thought they will just look at me like I'm strangers and they will not like me. And but now when I come to here, I feel comfortable, and all the people welcome in me and say hi.
It's an important program because we Americans are able to show the best what we have here.
In Helena, Jacob Fuhrer, MTN News.
The students left Montana today. They're heading to Washington, D.C. now before returning to Iraq. You want to keep it here on KAJ because Aaron says we're about to see our temperature soar a little bit again, find out how hot it's going to get coming up. Plus, you can't tell by looking at it, but the creator of this Montana-made furniture was self-taught. That story after the break right here on KAJ.